Hey everyone, it's Ken with Ken's Kreations. Well, on Thursday, my Cricut Explorer finally showed up from the UPS guy, and one of the first things I want to do is compare the Cricut Explorer with the Silhouette Cameo. A couple of years ago, I had became frustrated with all of my previous Cricut machines. The cuts just weren't precise, they weren't intricate. I felt like I was bounded on what I could do. I couldn't import SVGs, and someone recommended going with the Silhouette Cameo. And I bought it, I fell in love with it, and I swore I would never look back. I said goodbye, Cricut. Well, Cricut decided to come out with the Explorer, and we heard all these bloggers coming back from the summit saying this machine is going to change your life. This machine is going to be the last machine you are going to buy. And let's be honest, we were all intrigued. However, all of these blog posts were from people that were given a machine free by Cricut. So it was really hard for me to get a good understanding of, are they saying this because they got a free machine, or are they saying this because the machine is actually that good? So I wanted to do a comparison video. I bought my machine from HSN, so I was not given Cricut or Silhouette for free. I paid full price for both of them, and I have no gain from either of these companies. So this was really just the Cricut Explorer on one side and the Silhouette Cameo on the other side. I am going to go ahead and cut 4 different designs. I'm going to be cutting a doily pattern. We're going to be cutting this triangle pattern. We're going to be cutting this other intricate. And then we're going to be cutting this gate pattern. I chose these for a different reason. I wanted to see, of course, scallops. In the past, I've had problems with the Cricut doing nice, even scallops. In the past, I've had problems with the Cricut doing these nice edges. I wanted to see how well it did triangles, and I also wanted to see how well it could do intricate cuts. And then, of course, I did circles. And the reason I did circles is, up until this machine, Cricut hasn't been able to cut a good circle, which is a basic design. And it sounds crazy, but it's true. I've never gotten a good circle. So I've done those 5 cuts. I cut all of them at 3 inches, 2 inches, and 1 inch. So that way we could see all the different cuts. To set it up, I used brand new blade, brand new mats for both of them. On the Silhouette Cameo, I have that at a blade of 5, which is the recommendation for a cardstock pound 85, which is what I'm using. On the Cricut Explorer, I'm using the dial in between the light cardstock and the heavy cardstock. So I went ahead and set up a camera. We've loaded the mat, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at each one of these cuts just to see how well it did. And then we'll go and take a look at the results, and you guys can decide what you guys think. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. 3, 2, 1. The Silhouette looks like it is finished, and the Explorer is still cutting. It is just on its second image, so I will note that the Silhouette is much quicker. However, as you can hear, the room got much quieter the Explorer is a lot quieter. So we'll go ahead and wait for the Explorer to catch up and compare the first cuts. Alright, and now the Explorer is finished, so I'm going to go ahead and take the mats out and we're going to get a close-up to see how those cuts look. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this one off first. This is from the Silhouette. And then let's compare that. Both these mats, since they are new, are very, very sticky. Okay, so the first thing I noticed, all of the Cricut Explore, I didn't have to punch out any additional of the cuts. Take that back, just one. Silhouette I had to do a few, but there is the different cuts. Pretty comparable. I wouldn't say there's too much of a difference. Pretty close to each other. So let's go to the next size down. Let's start with the Silhouette. And this one was done at 2 inches. So as you can see, there's a little bit more that I'm going to have to flake out of there. So there is the Silhouette. Little bit not as clean a cuts on the edge, but that can be expected on 2 inches as these holes are getting smaller. As you can see, some of the cuts aren't as clean as I would like to see. But it's obviously getting a little smaller. So let's take a look at the Explorer. Get all those little pieces out of there. And that's at 2 inches on the Explorer. And I would have to say, once again, it's pretty comparable. It's hard to tell, but I would almost say that the Explorer has just a little bit of a cleaner cut in my opinion. Just ever slightly little cleaner. And let's take a look. Now, I don't expect these 1 inches to come out. These are pretty intricate, but let's take a look, starting with the Silhouette. So let me get as much of these little flakes out as can. So that's at 1 inch, and that's what the Silhouette did. So as you can see, some tearing on the edges. Really not a clean cut, but obviously I wouldn't expect too much at a 1 inch. And let's take a look at the Explorer and how it did. And that's about what the Explorer did on that 1 inch. Now, for a Cricut machine, that's pretty good for a 1 inch, I have to admit. But overall, between the two of them, they did pretty comparable. The pink, keep in mind, is your Silhouette. The blue is your Explorer. The biggest difference, before we move on to the next cut, is that I noticed is your Silhouette is much, much quicker. It was probably double the speed of the Explorer. However, the Explorer was much quieter. I mean, while the Silhouette was cutting, we had to talk louder during the whole cut. As soon as it cut, I had to make a sizable notice to my own voice to lower it. It was that much of a difference in my voice. So let's go to the next cut and see how they did. But for right now, I'd say that they're pretty comparable to each other, which I'm going to say I'm pretty impressed for a Cricut machine, because I didn't think a Cricut machine could come that close to the Silhouette, and it's putting up a pretty good fight. So let's go on to the next cut. Alright, this cut is going to cut out triangles and see how accurate the triangles are. 3, 2, 1. Alright, the Silhouette Cameo is done. And the Explore is working on its last set of triangles. Alright, and now the Cricut Explore is done, so let me go ahead and unload the mats and we'll take a look at the cuts. Okay, let's start with the 2-inch triangles. The pink is the Silhouette. And nice, clean cuts, as I would expect from this machine, like I've always gotten. So as you can see, real nice, clean, precise cuts. And even the triangles themselves, you can see are nice and clean cuts there. So let's take a look at the Explore. As always, Cricut mats are pretty sticky at first. And there is Cricut Explore. Also, nice, clean cuts. And if we look at triangle there, as you can see, nice, clean cuts there too. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 1-inch triangle. Very nice cut. And if I can get one of these up. Nice triangle there. Take a look at the Cricut Explore. Once again, nice new mat, so it's nice and sticky. Wow. by far one of the best, it is the best cut Cricut machine I've ever had. I've never had a Cricut machine cut triangles like that at 1 inch. 1 inch. It's impressive. Oh wait, 2 inch. I'm sorry, you guys. That's 2 inches, I apologize. So, we have 3 inch, 2 inch, and then we're going to take a look at the 1 inch. Alright, let's take a look at the 1 inch. Sorry, I've been telling you guys wrong here. So this is the Silhouette at 1 inch. And as you can see, there is the triangle silhouette at 1 inch. Real nice, clean cuts. And there is one of the triangle pieces. Pretty little, but gives you an idea. And let's take a look at the Explore. I have never been able to cut any triangle at 1 inch on any of my Cricut machines. I've always had problems with it ripping. The blade would cut it weird. So I've never even attempted this at 1 inch. And look at this. Look at that cut, you guys. Absolutely amazing. 1 inch cut on the Cricut Explore. That is simply wonderful. And look at that triangle. Wow. I am very impressed. This is definitely giving the Silhouette a run for its money. So there is the triangles. We're going to move on to now a complicated iron gate, but very impressed. This is a very comparable machine to the Silhouette. The triangles, in my opinion, I want to show you the difference here, if you can see this. In my opinion, the triangles on the Explore are way more precise than the Silhouette, and that's just in my opinion. You guys can make your own decision there, but in my own opinion, the triangles on the Explore, as you can see, are way more defined. They're a little bigger, and this is from the same SVG file I got from svg.com, and I imported them both into the machine, so I didn't do anything different. I didn't manipulate the files at all, so all I did was import it into the machine. You can even see it on the 2 inch here, and I don't know if you guys can see what I'm seeing here, but it just seems like the triangles are just a little more defined. So I have to say, in this round, I'm gonna give the cutting to the Explorer. However, the speed still goes to Silhouette. So let's take a look at the So the next thing we are going to cut are some intricate gates. So I have them three. I have one at, I believe, 3 inches, 2 inches, and 1 inch. So let's go ahead and cut these. 3, 2, 1. Alright, the Cameo is finished, just like in all the other cuts, it finishes first. And it looks like the Explorer is just finishing the final cut. Alright, and now the Explorer is done, so let's go ahead and unload the mats and see how the cuts turned out. So like I have in the past, let's start with the Cameo, the pink. So this is a gate file, and I wanted to cut this because it's got some intricacies, and I thought this would be a good file to show the curves and everything else. And this is cut at 2 inches. And as I expected, the Cameo just did fine. This is 3 inches, sorry. I keep on messing up the sizes, you guys. I apologize. This is 3 inches on the Cameo. And let me go ahead and get the Explorer at 3 inches. I will say the mats are definitely a little stickier on the Cricut products, because these were both brand new mats when I started this comparison video. And this Cricut is still sticky, and the Silhouette's already losing its stickiness. So there is the Explorer at 3 inches. So pretty comparable between the two. Let's go ahead and go down to 2 inches here and see the difference. So here is Silhouette Cameo at 2 inches. And let's take a look at the Explorer. Can't stress enough how impressed I am that this is a Cricut product. In the past, designs like this on the Cricut never came out for me. It tore, it ripped, so I'm very impressed that Cricut spent time on this machine, because so far I've been very impressed. So here is the Cricut gate at 2 inches. And I can already tell you guys, if you can see here, it's just a little bit cleaner. As you can see here on this, where this gate comes, it's a little more defined compared to the Cameo. And once again, I didn't do anything with these files. I just imported them, and it just looks a little cleaner. So let's go down to the 1 inch. I'm a little concerned about this because this is a pretty tiny gate. And let's see how it did. We'll start with the Cameo. So there is Silhouette Cameo at 1 inch on the gate. I have to be really careful on the Cricut because this mat is so sticky, I don't want it to rip. Let me just clean this up here. Alright, and there is the Explorer at 1 inch. And that, for a Cricut, is pretty dang impressive. So, let's look at the comparison here. And you can tell me what you think is better. To me, the Cricut Explorer it just has a little more definition. So when you look at these tiny little, right there, you can see it's just a little more defined. I don't know, tell me what you guys think in the comments, but as you can see, here's 3 inches, 2 inches, and 1 inches on an intricate gate. And next we're going to go ahead and take a look at a couple more cuts. Okay, so we're going to start at the 3-inch. The pink is the Silhouette Cameo. So let me go ahead and bring that up. So, just like I thought, nice cut. And that's at 3 inches. Alright, and then let's take a look at the Explorer. Once again, I will tell you the difference in the mat. The Cricut mat is still very sticky, where my Silhouette mat is already losing its stickiness, so something to keep in mind there. And nice, beautiful cut, again, by the Explorer. One thing I would like to point out, in the past I've had some problems with the Explorer cutting even, I guess, teardrop shapes and perfect circles, but as you can see on this cut, did a beautiful job. Alright, let's see how we did on the 2-inch. We'll start with the Silhouette Cameo. And this, I will say, Silhouette Cameo had some problems cutting this. It looks like the speed maybe got in the way a little bit. Didn't do a very good job cutting these tiny little dots around the edges here. As you can see, there's barely anything there. Didn't cut that very good. As you can see, here's the back side. This piece here didn't cut all the way. This piece here didn't cut all the way. So I'm wondering if that's part of the speed factor. It is much faster. It's probably double the speed of the Explorer. But as you can see, this piece here didn't cut all the way. This piece here didn't cut all the way. So something to consider. But the actual outside here cut just fine. And let me take a look at the 2-inch Explorer. Wow. Holy moly. Hands down, way better than the Silhouette. Night and day. Look at that, you guys. Wow. This is where the speed comes in. Even though the Cameo is faster, I mean, it's twice as fast. Look at that difference. I mean, that's night and day. Now, these 1 inches, I'm not expecting a miracle by any means, so let's take a look at them. There is your Silhouette 1 inch. And there is your Explorer 1 inch. Obviously not perfect, but much better job than the Cameo. So I would like to point out to the 2 inch here, you guys, especially this inner circle part, or this inner border here. I mean, it's night and day. I mean, you can see it cut every single one of these circles. And as you can see here, the Cameo didn't. These were brand new blades when I started this test. Brand new blades. so it can just show you the difference in cutting. So for my last cut test, we're going to do some circles, so let's get right to that. Alright, so starting with the Silhouette Cameo, we did our circles at, I believe this was 2 inches, an inch, half of an inch, a quarter of an inch, and 0.10. So let's just take our paper off. And as you can see, perfect cuts here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that little one off. And let's take a look at the Explorer. Now, we've known in the past Cricut has been known for not accurate circles. So that was something a lot of people asked for on this machine. And look at that. Perfect circles. So I know we're not going to see too much of a comparison in circles here between the two. Mostly I wanted to do this for a speed test, and just to let you know, the speed was pretty much almost right on, maybe within a couple seconds of each other, and the accuracy is right on. I've never had a Cricut cut a circle that perfect and that small. So there is circles for you guys. So there is a comparison on how fast the machine is and how precise the cutting is. I hope this gives you a good idea. I will be doing a video soon comparing the software so you can see the difference in the software. But this will give you a good idea about how the machine cuts, the speed, and the precision.